Hello and welcome back to the Emotionless podcast. My name is Logan and I am your host. So I don't know how you guys liked my first episode. I hope you did. That was kind of a spur of the moment episode, just from some feelings I was having. Because we all have feelings. We love them. They're great. And by they're great, I mean I hate them and they're awful. So today's episode is sponsored once again by Dunkin' Donuts, and by once again I mean not at all. No. So today's episode, I'm entitling relationships, because I want to talk about the mental health in statistics in regards to relationships, because I believe that there is a lot to talk about there. And I believe that there's a lot to discuss in regards to relationships. So I did make a couple notes, but you know how that goes. Because you make notes and then you get distracted and then you stop making notes and it's all dandy and grandy and awesome and possum. So I was originally going to call this episode Toxic Relationships, but toxic relationships is only one part of what I want to focus on this episode. I want to focus on some other relationships too. And so I just decided to rename this episode Relationships, because I think it fits better with what we will be discussing ultimately. So the first category, I guess you could say, of relationships that I want to talk about is toxic relationships. Now, what is a toxic relationship? So I kind of looked up an article about defining these different types of relationships, and before I talk about each one, I'm going to read kind of what they said. The toxic relationship. This kind of relationship leaves you emotionally and mentally exhausted. In this relationship, one of you has the upper hand and could even be abusive emotionally or physically. The person could make you stay in this relationship because they continuously tell you that they love you, but do not really demonstrate it. You need to get out of this relationship now. Now, I just recently, about 8 months ago, I want to say, I don't know, I think it was 8 months ago, 9 months, 13 days, and 4 hours ago, got out of a toxic relationship of my own that had been going on for a year and a half ish, kind of on and off, because we definitely had our moments, and I know the person who I'm talking about is going to watch this episode. I know they're probably not going to be happy, and I don't care. Because it is my right as a human being to speak out about how I feel, and that is exactly why I created this podcast, aside from spreading attention to mental health, is to speak out about how I feel. So I'm going to do that. Anyways. So, a toxic relationship, as defined by what I read to you guys, could be either they define it as one party hurting the other. I don't think that's true in all toxic relationships. I think both parties can be hurting each other. I think that technically most of the time one person will have more of an upper hand than the other person, but that doesn't mean that both parties aren't hurting each other and that both parties don't have something they need to take accountability for. So I was in a relationship with this girl, and, bless her heart, life has not been kind to her. She has every right to be angry, because life has just handed her asshat after asshat, problem after problem, complication after complication. So, after learning a lot of that, a lot of the relationship and the issues I experienced made sense. Doesn't make them excusable, but it made sense. And so I was in this relationship, and I had countless friends tell me, get out of this relationship. Stop talking to her. Stop being around her. Stop going over to her. Stop getting in her car. Stop this. Stop that. Don't do it. Don't this. Don't that. And God, I wish I had listened, because it would have made my life so much easier if I had just listened. I think what is important to address about a toxic relationship is what exactly makes it toxic. Now, in my relationship, what I think made it toxic was our lack of openness and emotional availability to each other, and our lack of being able to be straight up with each other and be like, hey, what you did the other day bothered me. How you touched me the other day bothered me. How you called me the other day bothered me. How you looked at me bothered me. I know it's stupid to say how you looked at me bothered me, but if it bothered you, it bothered you. Like, you know, there is no ifs, ands, or buts. If you were bothered, you were bothered. And that's that. And I think that a toxic relationship really affects mental health, especially in this case, because I kept going back to this person thinking, I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing it right. I got to try again. I got to start from a different angle. I got to take a different approach. I got to buy her more stuff. I got to be better than everyone else in her life. I got to, be there for her no matter what. I got to answer her phone calls no matter what. I got to show her that I love her unconditionally. And I think I drove myself rampant trying to prove things to herself. Especially, there was an incident in November of last year. She had something happen to her that I'm going to leave out of this because it's not my business to talk about. And she ignored me for a couple days. And I was just like, okay, well, she's having a moment, whatever. But then I found out that something had happened to her. And I consistently was trying to reach out to her like, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? I'm so sorry. This sucks. I wish this hadn't happened to you. Blah, 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 blah. I was trying to reach out. And, and I also reached out to her grandmother, and offered my condolences for what had happened, because I think that's just part of being a good human being, is reaching out and telling someone you care, even if you're not a big part of their life, just being like, hey, I'm sorry. I hope you're okay. Sending love, And that's exactly what I said. I was like, I'm sorry that XYZ happened. I'm sending you love. And, she was like, oh, thank you. That's so sweet of you to reach out. Happy Thanksgiving, because it was right around Thanksgiving. And then I go to her Snapchat story, and I see something that's like,
oh, by the way, my grandma didn't like that you reached out to me, and like, she says you're horrible.
It's not what she said, but you know what I mean. She was like,
offended that you reached out to her.
and I'm like, uh-oh, did I just start a problem? So, in my head, in my empathetic head, the first thing I thought was, I need to go apologize. So I went and texted her grandmother again, which was probably a stupid move. And I was like, hey, XYZ, she told me that you were upset with what I said. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend you. I didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't mean to trigger any bad memories. And she was just like, huh? What are you talking about? I thought it was very sweet of you to reach out. But, okay, thank you. And that was in my head when I realized, oh, this person is attention seeking. Okay. And normally I'm not a big fan of people who attention seek, mostly because I've been an attention seeker and it doesn't really help you. It really honestly makes things worse most of the time. So I'm not a big fan of people who attention seek. But I also know that part of grief and going through something is attention seeking, trying to get people to give you love, give you condolences, blah, 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 blah. Because you're in a state where you just don't really know what's going on and you just need someone to remind you that they care about you. And that's normal, I think. And so I think that's what was going on here, is that she was trying to get attention because she didn't know how she was feeling and she was upset. And I understand that, honestly. So I moved on. And eventually she reached back to me and, she was like, hey, I'm sorry, I was just in a really bad mood because XYZ happened. And I understand, because what happened to her was a big life event, so I understand that she was upset, and I understand that, she was being the way she was. And she's like, but that wasn't, I think what sets her apart from most other relationships I've been in is and I hate to say this because I know she's going to come for me. Oh my God. Um, is her lack to take accountability and apologize. And that really sucks. And that hurts me because I hate people who don't take accountability. I hate it. 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 And I hate it because I used to be that person. Okay, you probably just heard me like throw up in my mouth, so that's really cute. Um, I hate people who don't take accountability, and I hate them because, again, I was that person and I saw how it affected the people around me, and I hated seeing that. And that's why I became a person who tries to take accountability even when it's hard. And it's hard sometimes. It is really hard to take accountability. It is really hard. And I think it takes a lot of credit and it shows a lot about a person's character to me personally when they can show that they can take accountability for what they've done. I think it's a very empowering act. Um, Unfortunately, we are running low on time, so I do have to end this part. But I'm gonna make this specific part a 2-part series um, about toxic relationships. So this is toxic relationships part 1. Who knows how many parts there'll be, honestly. Um, and yeah, thank you again for watching. Please follow us on our social medias at emotionless.podcast on Instagram and at emotion_podcast on Twitter. And please email your emotional health stories or your mental health stories that you want us to cover at emotionless.podcast@gmail.com. And like I say, I'll say it every single time because it is so important. Please take care of your mental health. Take care of your life. Take care of you because you are the only one of you. You cannot be replaced. And there is help. Do not let your thoughts be your downfall. Do not let them take over on you. It is okay to think into your own thoughts, but don't overthink it. Please reach out. Call your friends. Call your family. Call someone. Call the National Suicide Hotline at 800-273-8255. Again, that's 800-273-8255. There is help. There is someone to talk to. Call the Suicide Hotline if you just need to talk, if you just need to make sense of things. I've done that before, and they are there to help you. It's okay if you're not even feeling suicidal and you just need someone to talk to. Please reach out. Please do not take your own life. It is not worth it. It is a short-term solution to a long-term problem, and it is not going to help you at the end of the day. Thank you again for watching. I look forward to making more of these, and if you would like to be a star in an episode, please, again, email emotionless.podcast@gmail.com. Thank you so much, and have a great day.